My name is Alana O, and I'm the witch and the artist behind the Grim Bear. If you followed me here from my other socials, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you found me here or you're new here, welcome. My name is Alana. I run a witchcraft shop online called the Grim Bear. I also talk about witchcraft online and now on YouTube. As I mentioned previously, take what you need and leave the rest. Some of this information might be new to you, some of this information might not be new to you, but it's still something that we need to talk about, especially if we have other people here that are interested but haven't started quite yet down their path of witchcraft. So, if you watched my last video, you know that I take a practical approach when it comes to witchcraft, and that's part of being a lazy witch. When we talk about words as spells, it's exactly that. We see spell work in the media, online, and it looks beautiful. There might be a bunch of ingredients, a bunch of herbs that you think you need to go out and buy, but it's not actually necessary. We already know some spells that are just words that we've done before, that we've told to each other, that we've told to our children, that people in our family have told to us. Most of us know the story of the boy who cried wolf. And if you don't know the story, it pretty much goes there was a boy who would go into the woods and then run into the village and say, "There's a wolf, there's a wolf." And many times they would go try to help him, try to get rid of the wolf. The wolf was not actually there. And then when there was actually a wolf there, no one went to help the boy because of all the things he had said previously, and he got eaten by the wolf. Did this really happen? Who knows? This is just one of those things that has been passed on. And when we think of previous generations, what they had the capability to do or what they could not do, one of the things they may not have been able to do was record their history. So, one of the ways that we pass on information, even through our own lineage, through our own generations, is telling a story, and that story will get retold. And the story may have some moral to it that you're supposed to learn from it, or it may just be a spell. One of the things that my family has said, if your ear's ringing, somebody's talking to you, and you should bite your tongue to stop them from talking about you. And there are other stories in other cultures that you're not going to be privy to, you're not going to hear about unless you're specifically from that culture or from that family where that story is being passed down through generations. So when we talk about words and we talk about witchcraft, this is one of those things. For instance, we all know some version of the happy birthday song. Whether you know it in a different language, we all know some version of it. And that's a song that we learn at a really young age, very young, because we've had it sung to us, we've sang it to other people. And what happens with the birthday song? Everyone stands around, they light a candle, they all sing to you, then you blow out the candle and you make a wish. Is this not witchcraft? Yes, it is. You've already participated. Welcome. Having words as a spell is really great because that's something that you can take with you always. There's no tools that are necessarily involved. You're just taking those words with you. You can pass that information on to somebody else. Now that majority of people have cell phones, you can text that information, you could save it in your phone, but word of mouth, you can pass that information, you can pass that spell to somebody else, share it with somebody else. All these spells don't have to rhyme. That's one of those things that we see in movies, in film, the spells always rhyme. They're always really catchy, and that's great. There is use for having a spell that rhymes because it's easier to remember. So if I sing you a little song and you memorize the song, it's easier for you to repeat it. So while there is usefulness to it, it is not necessary for every spell. And not every spell that you perform is going to have words included with it. It might have a chant, it might not. The great thing is that having a spell that is spoken words can be passed down. You can pass it down by telling someone, you could pass it down by writing it for someone, sharing it will continue even after you're not physically here in the physical realm. Think about songs that we love that really invoke these strong emotions in us. The songwriter may be gone, the singer, the performer may be gone, but those songs live on. And as long as we continue to listen to them, they live on, they will get passed down, they will still continue. And this is an ancient practice that has gone on because we have to consider when people weren't able to read and write and they were just passing information word of mouth. We can also look back at history, look at when they are uncovering the ancient Egyptian tombs. When they uncover them, they'll oftentimes see passages written at the tomb. Whoever disturbs this tomb will face death. And they go in and they still take things from the tomb and take the mummy because they want to put in a museum for people to look at, and then they're cursed. We've seen it in movies, but it's happened. And if you've ever made a wish or even said a prayer, you whispered a prayer to something, or you spoke to your car before, like, come on, turn on. I think a lot of people have had that experience. Or something on the table is rolling away from you, you get the urge to yell stop to try to get it to stop rolling away from you. We've all participated in these things. And so that gives us a capability to go ahead and use words for a spell. We can actually create these. We can create our own chants that we use within our own witchcraft practice. Also, consider books. How many books? I mean, there is the book, which people in the book club refer to, but there's so many books with information that even though the authors are gone, we still hold on to this information. We still reference it. It's still valid. It's still relevant right now, and we still hold on to those things right now. Now we're in a new age of technology where people are making these videos online. They will go on. I personally will use my words to help me set intentions when I'm doing spell work. So, for instance, I may grab a candle and I may speak to that candle and I may tell that candle what my intentions are. Can you carve a candle? Absolutely. You can use words in that way. You can write a sentence and make it into a sigil, and then it becomes, this is a sigil that I created and I know what it means and I wear it with me all the time. It becomes something sacred within your own practice because you made it so, because you gave it the capability, you gave it the energy for it to be sacred. It becomes so. One of the chants that I made for myself that you can use, and I use this when I get a new item and I'm cleansing it, whether it be a tarot deck, whether it's something that I thrifted, or a candle that I'm about to start using. I will specifically talk to that tool. I will specifically call its energy to work with me, to work for me. So I wrote it down here. What I often say is, the only magic you know is mine. And I would just repeat that over and over to that specific tool that I'm using. The only magic you know is mine. And I'll just keep repeating it, so this way it's going to conform to my energy. This is my intention. This is what I want you to do. And we can do this with multiple things. We can speak over water. We can tell it what we want it to do, how we want it to work. Many times, if I'm using herbs, I'm going to roll them in my hand, or I'm going to muddle them. And as I'm doing that motion, I'm going to be speaking to them. I'm going to be telling them what I want them to do, why I want them to do it. A lot of times, even when I'm cooking, I will speak over the food that I'm cooking. And I feel like a lot of people do that. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I feel like a lot of people do that when they're cooking. They are cooking with love. They're cooking with intention. I feel like a lot of people do that. And this is something that we can incorporate in all different types of magical workings. So if you were, for instance, doing mirror magic, a mirror spell, where you are looking at a mirror, you are talking to yourself, you're building up your self-empowerment, or you're building up your confidence, this is a time where you might be saying some important things to yourself. We can also think about this in the sense of self-talk. What am I saying to myself in my head? Am I giving myself the kindness? Am I giving myself the grace that I give to other people? Because sometimes we need that. We need to give that good energy to ourselves first before we start handing it out to everybody around us. We can also use this when we want to bring our energy back in, pull our energy back in, call it back in. We can also use this in a very simple one word. No. Oh, can you do this? No. Oh, can you go here? No. That's it. That's a protection spell. No. No, I can't. Don't have to give them a reason. No is because no. It's a full sentence. No. So this is something to keep in mind when we're talking about being a lazy witch, when we're talking about practical witchcraft, things that you can do right now that you already have the capability of doing. You can do that right now. You can write it down. You can memorize it for yourself. You can say it to yourself. These are spells that you can create and you can work on right now. And you can also use this for manifestation. We often hear that term, speak it into existence. If we're speaking it into existence, we're describing something that already exists. So we can take this into consideration when we are creating spells for ourselves. We're creating spells that work for us, doing witchcraft on a schedule that works for us, that's realistic for us. And you can also incorporate your beliefs into what you're saying. How do you believe your energy should be flowing? You can also pass this on. So if there's someone that you're working with, that you want to include them with this, if you're solitary and at some point you plan to pass your practice down to someone else, you can go ahead and write this down. I am a big advocate for taking records. You can take your own records. You have your recollection of these events. If you're writing them down now, somebody else can read them later. If you don't write them down, then they are still memories for you, but they're just for you. So this is how we can use words as spells. We can take that and we can travel with it. We can create with it. We can even destroy with it. I mean, there are curses that exist that are just words, whether they're written on a wall, whether they're written on a book, whether they're said to us or put on us. So for me, using spells and words in my practice has helped me greatly, not just to convey my intention, but also just something for me to have to be able to use anywhere, anytime. So If you have not done so before, I implore you to write a spell, something that you will remember, something that has significance to you, meaning to you, and something that is useful to you. It could be one sentence, and it could be something that you have, that you use. It could be a mantra that you say to yourself or that you say in the mirror. It could be something that, like what I was describing earlier, something that you use when you're cleansing a new item, when you're consecrating a new item. It's something that can be useful within your spiritual practice, and you can create it yourself. And it's something that if you want to, you can pass it on or share it with others. If you don't want to share it with others, then that's okay too. You can keep some of your spirituality to yourself. It should be about you. That's what your witchcraft should be about. You should be the center of it. You are the universe. Also, use your words to manifest. That's something so amazing that you can do for yourself. The thing that you want, you don't want it. You have it. You're going to have it. You've already said you're going to have it. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Regardless of naysayers might say, you're not going to do that. You're going to do that. You can do it. You can do it right now. And probably my favorite way to use words as a spell is to create a sigil. And I can go ahead and make a video about how to create a sigil if you haven't done so before. I have seen a few different methods. I can show you the method that I use, and if that works for you, you can feel free to incorporate it in your witchcraft practice. I think that creating a sigil, it feels more special to me because I've created a sentence. Not only am I saying that sentence to myself when I see that sigil, it becomes a symbol that I created, so it becomes sacred to me within my practice, whether someone else is aware of the meaning or not. So it's definitely something that I would recommend knowing how to do or learning how to do. And also, you can incorporate sigils so many different ways in your practice. So I think that we'll talk about that a little bit more in my next video. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you want to continue to get to know me, continue to talk about witchcraft with me, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, like my video, and I'll be back with another video about witchcraft really shortly. Bye guys. This is getting easier as time goes on, speaking to the circles, but I'm imagining you on the other side of this video, watching me, engaging with me, saying, yeah, that's right. Yes, that's what I'm imagining in my head. It is getting easier. I did get like 10 different phone calls while I was creating this video, so if it's choppy, I'm so sorry. Apologize. Thank you guys so much. Bye.